about ready to put it down. I know y'all can't stand to hear my sound.
Sorry about that, y'all. I dropped the audio. They make the little animation.
I know you're about to this. There ain't no stopping this. Who else rocks like this? Oh no, assist. This track is hot. My name is Dark in case you forgot.
Hey.
I got to do, I'm just too loud. Business picks up when I arrive. I'm clean cut. I don't get down and dirty. I don't look over my shoulder. You folks can't hurt me. In a battle, my talent never deserts me. You like what the man's doing over in Afghanistan. That place was nasty. I sure hope they don't draft me. Like September 11 live in infamy. I'm just glad I don't live in New York or DC. I ain't never been on an airplane. And if you do, then you're insane. The same for a vote. People do whatever they
how do they cope?
If you start babbling, it's somebody gonna grab you. When it comes to music, I'm like a mad dog. Gobbling up MCs like a hog. Yo, I'm a glutton. When it comes to this, I'm pain. No matter who I'm messed up with, the outcome's always the same. Me on top, my trash will never stop. There's too much nonsense in the game. If I don't make it, I still won't change. One note, not one alert. Who cares whether or not you want to hear it? Something needs to be said. I'm saying it. In the toughest hoods, I'm playing it. It's for everyone's playlist. You don't agree? Yo, mind your business. I don't go to clubs, mind your business. I don't do no drugs, mind your business. The gritty stuff you love, I want no pop up. Yo, mind your business, mind your business. Yeah. I was up all this way different. Don't say I'm gifted, don't say I need to get with it. Hustle on the corners, put in work. Stay away from the church, using time in jail. That's where you refine your rhymes. Get drunk, go smoke a blunt. Until people see me fight, they say I'm a punk. Ho-hos pull me over and let me go with a glance of grin. People on the crowd.
Alrighty, y'all. I'm having a problem finding these links. I just find it strange. I know I sent these links to other people, and yet I'm not finding them. Let me scroll up. Got it. Okay. You said the audio was skipping. Can we get a break? Hello. It's on. Hello. much we know. The audio was on. You say it's skipping. All right, tell me. We can't get a break. All right, hold on one second. So okay. So is it playing now? Is it playing now? Is it playing now? Is it playing now? All right. Is it playing now? Okay. Is it playing now? I said okay. All right. All I had to do was just exit the voice meter and restart it. Alrighty, y'all. We got a big show planned. I got so many links that I keep forgetting which one is which. So we're gonna skip the theme song. Let's get to it. Everything looked decent on the OBS. We ain't dropped no frames. Now I'm gone. Where I go? Oh, closed that by accident. Okay, now we're using a newer phone, so hopefully the ZTE won't break the connection with the phone. Right now, everything look good, so let's get to it, y'all. I'm asking y'all, how did we miss this? My neighbor was talking about a video, and you heard him talking about them trapping Ahmed Aurbery. You heard him talking about the neighbor. You heard him say that Ahmed turned back the other way. And that the guy filming it made him turn back. Or was that a dead end road? Because we about to see something. Hold on. The video of this person I'm talking about is coming up next. I got you. Just hang on. One point at a time. Now, we didn't see this in none of the videos.
In February, 25-year-old Ahmed Aurbery was shot dead in the South Georgia neighborhood of Satilla Shores. In the 2 months that followed, no arrests were made. But local residents and lawmakers protested what they said was a deadly combination of racial profiling and flawed self-defense laws.
When they stop you, make sure you got your cameras on. Make sure you got a video.
Police did eventually arrest 2 suspects, but it was days after this video of the fatal shooting emerged. Gregory McMichael and his son Travis were charged with murder and aggravated assault. The case has reignited the national debate over racial violence.
I'm sure you saw the news about Ahmed Aurbery. It looks like murder.
The American public saw the video.
What exactly happened in the last moments of Mr. Aurbery's life? Using security camera footage, cell phone video, and 911 calls and logs, the Times has reconstructed the critical 12 minutes from when Mr. Aurbery appeared on Satilla Drive to his death less than 300 yards away. It's around 1 p.m. on February 23rd when Ahmed Aurbery is out, less than 2 miles from his home. A security camera at 219 Satilla Drive is recording when Mr. Aurbery enters the frame at around 1:04 p.m. He may have been jogging in the area, but he stops on the front lawn of 220 Satilla, a house being built across the street. Aurbery glances around and wanders into the open construction site. Inside, security footage briefly captures him looking around. Meanwhile, outside, a neighbour walks from Jones Road towards Satilla Drive and calls 911.
There's a guy in the house right now. The house under construction. 219 or 220. Still a driver.
The neighbour waits by the street corner. He will later tell the dispatcher that Aurbery resembles a recent trespasser in the area.
I've been caught on the camera a month before night. Kind of an ongoing thing out here. Like
on multiple occasions before February 23rd, several trespassers were caught on camera at 220 Satilla. The owner routinely alerted the police. On 4 occasions, what appears to be the same man was filmed. It's unclear if this was Aurbery, but even if it were, this does not justify his shooting by neighbours outside on the street. The site's owner says nothing was ever stolen from the house during these incidents, all on February 23rd, and no property was ever damaged. But neighbours were aware of the trespasses, and the community was on alert. Now, back to the day in question. It's 1:08 p.m. and Aurbery is walking around inside the house. 4 minutes after he entered, he walks out and runs off.
he's running right now. There he goes right now.
Okay, what is he doing?
Running down the street.
In the top corner of the security footage, we can see down the street to 230 Satilla, the home of Travis McMichael. At 1:10 p.m, Travis and his father Gregory grab their guns, jump in a white truck, and leave the house to pursue Mr. Aurbery. We don't have footage showing the next 3 minutes, but testimony Gregory McMichael gave police at the scene, and interviews by another witness, Roddy Bryan, indicate what happened. Gregory and Travis McMichael follow Aurbery onto Burford Road. Their neighbour, Roddy Bryan, sees the pursuit, gets in his car and follows. The McMichaels try to cut Aurbery off. Aurbery doubles back and passes them. Bryan tries to block Aurbery, but Aurbery runs past him and toward Holmes Road. Gregory McMichael climbs from the cab to the bed of the truck, armed with a handgun. We don't know exactly what happens next, but Bryan and the McMichaels end up following Aurbery on Holmes Road, and we next see Aurbery at 1:14 p.m. running back down Holmes Road, away from Roddy Bryan and towards the McMichaels. Roddy Bryan is filming, and a warning, these scenes are distressing. Gregory McMichael dials 911 at this time.
911, what's the address emergency?
I'm not here. Killing stores. There's a black male running down the street.
Satilla, where at Satilla Shores?
I don't know what street we're on. Stop up there! Damn it! Stop! Sorry!
Sir, hello, sir.
Let's watch this back and break down what happens. This is Aurbery. He has been running from the vehicles for almost 4 minutes. Travis is standing by the driver's side of the truck, armed with a shotgun. Gregory is in the bed of the truck on the 911 call. Aurbery doesn't know where to run. He veers right, then left, and then darts around the right side of the vehicle. Aurbery comes around the front of the truck. We see his white t-shirt through the windshield. And here is Travis, now leaning toward him. This is the instant the first shot is fired. Aurbery is hit in the chest, his right lung, ribs and sternum are injured. The two men wrestle over the gun. Gregory shouts. Aurbery punches Travis. In the back of the truck, Gregory drops the cell phone. A second blast goes off, out of frame, but we see the shotgun smoke here. Aurbery is heavily bleeding. He throws another punch. Travis fires a final shot, which hits Aurbery in his left upper chest. Travis walks away, holding his gun. Gregory gets off the truck, clutching his .357 Magnum. According to the police report, Gregory rolled Aurbery over to see if he had a weapon. He did not. Police officers arrive within seconds of the shooting, and a minute or so later, at 1:16 p.m, Police officer Minshew reports 2 subjects on Holmes Road, shots fired, male on ground, bleeding out. The police took Gregory McMichael's testimony and let the 2 men go. But now the McMichaels both face serious charges. Hi, this is Malachy and I reported this story. For transparency, a note about the security footage used in this video, which was first published by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The time code you see here is incorrect. We know this because we lined up what we see in this video with what we hear in 2 911 calls, and we confirmed the time of those calls. These details and police logs also allowed us to determine that Gregory McMichael called 911 from his son's phone just before the fatal shooting. So in this video, we used the real time that events happened. Thank you for watching.
All right, let's rewind this back.
In the area, but he stops on the front lawn of 220 Satilla, a house being built across the street. Aurbery glances around and wanders into the open construction site. Inside, security...
Guy on half ton constructor. 219 or 220 Satilla Drive.
The neighbour waits by the street corner. He will later tell the dispatcher that Aurbery resembles a recent trespasser in the area.
You've been caught on the camera a bunch before at night. Kind of an ongoing thing out here. Like that,
On multiple occasions before February 23rd, several trespassers were caught on camera at 220 Satilla. The owner routinely alerted the police. On 4 occasions, what appears to be the same man was filmed. It's unclear if this was Aurbery, but even if it were, this does not justify his shooting by neighbours outside on the street. The site's owner says nothing was ever stolen from the house during these incidents, all on February 23rd, and no property was ever damaged. But neighbours were aware of the trespasses, and the community was on alert. Now, back to the day in question. It's 1:08 PM and Aurbery is walking around inside the house. 4 minutes after he entered, he walks out and runs off.
There's a neighbor standing right there.
Okay, what is he doing?
In the top corner of the security footage, we can see down the street to 230 Satilla, the home of Travis McMichael. At 1:10 PM, Travis and his father Gregory grab their guns, jump in a white truck, and leave the house to pursue Mr. Aurbery. We don't have footage showing the next 3 minutes, but testimony Gregory McMichael gave police at the scene, and interviews by another witness, Roddy Bryan, indicate what happened. Gregory and Travis McMichael follow Aurbery onto Burford Road. Their neighbour, Roddy Bryan, sees the pursuit, gets in his car and follows. The McMichaels try to cut Aurbery off. Aurbery doubles back and passes them. Bryan tries to block Aurbery, but Aurbery runs past him and toward Holmes Road. Gregory McMichael climbs from the cab to the bed of the truck, armed with a handgun. We don't know exactly what happens next, but Bryan and the McMichaels end up following Aurbery on Holmes Road, and we next see Aurbery at 1:14 PM running back down Holmes Road, away from Roddy Bryan and towards the McMichaels. Roddy Bryan is filming, and a warning, these scenes are distressing. Gregory McMichael dials 911 at this time.
911, what's the address of emergency?
I'm not here. Still with someone. There's a black male running down the street.
Satilla, where at Satilla Shores?
I don't know what street we're on. Stop right there! Isn't it? Stop! Sorry!
Sir, hello, sir.
Let's watch this back and break down what happens. This is Aurbery. He has been running from the vehicles for almost 4 minutes.
Now, all the videos start from right here that we've seen. They all start from right here. Every video that we've been able to come across, it stops right there. It starts right there. Why wasn't the driver? Why wasn't all the videos showing? Because the videos that we see that start right here make it seem like Ronnie's trying to catch up to them. But in fact, y'all see they on the water. That road didn't go nowhere, or Aubrey didn't know where it went. But he ran around to McMichaels when they passed him the first time. And he ran back up the road, the same road he ran down, after he turned off of Centilla or whatever. So now, he ran around him at Michael the first time. That must be a dead-end street. That must be a dead-end street. So now, the McMichaels pull up ahead and say, well, he gotta come back. And they sitting there waiting for him. The cameraman followed him down the road. The cameraman tried to cut him off. And so he turned back and went the other way. Why he didn't run in the grass, I don't know. I done went in the grass by some trees and ran by him and then came back out on the road later on. But he couldn't follow him in the trees. Bible says you think he might have been homeless. The video said that he was jogging 2 miles from his home. So if he's jogging 2 miles from his home, how is he homeless? That's just a question. But how come we don't see that footage? Every video that we saw. Now, this ain't just that they came out the driveway, drove past and waited for him. No, they chased him down 2 streets and back up. They were hounding him. They were hunting him. Like you go hunt deer. That was a hunt, and that man with the camera said he wasn't involved. That road must have been a dead end because they letting Ronnie, the guy with the camera, follow him down the road. And they just sitting there waiting. He gotta come back. And there go Ronnie right behind him. We need to get we might need to get a Google map because I want to know how far does the water surround that area. Was there a place for him to run? Because remember, they're on the water. Was there a place for him to run to? Was that a dead end he was going down? Did he turn around because it was a dead end, or did he turn around because Roddy cut him off in the car? So now I understand why he didn't run the other way, which y'all know I brought that point up. The video doesn't make it look like, the video makes it look like Ronnie just happened to pull up. But in actuality, He's pushing Aurbery toward the McMichaels. So now he see Travis in the street. The father up in the truck. He goes to run up the grass and he feels the car coming behind him. He doesn't know it's a drainage ditch right there that the car can't follow him. So he decides, well, let me go this way. So basically he's like, and then just ran around. And truthfully, if he would have kept running straight, they would have just followed him. Because now we know they could have been shot him. We know that they could have been shot him. Yeah, it looked like he tried to block him. And he turned back around and ran back upwards. But the McMichaels didn't follow down. They was sitting up there waiting. That's why I'm asking, was that a dead end? Because you don't see them drive past both of them and sit there and wait. They must have known that road don't go nowhere. That road don't go nowhere, or it's a circle that bring you back up. Because why didn't they follow down too? Now, until I seen that piece of video nobody's showing, that piece of video that nobody's showing, the cameraman needs to be arrested. And I believe he was today. So I'm changing my stance on this. Hold on a sec. No Name About Cares gave me a video. I gotta find it. Give me a second here. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Okay, did I send a denier? Okay, what about Liz? Oops. Wait a minute, y'all. We got a lot of links here. Okay.
In February 20...
Okay, LIM, so that's not it. My back is killing me. It will not let up. Okay, is this it? No.
I feel an overwhelming...
Where is that link? What about this one?
Welcome back, folks.
No.
Great to have you with us.
And that's KQ. KQ. What about this one? I got too many links. No, and that's SDNW. So we know it ain't that one. What about this one? No.
I feel an overwhelming sense of relief he is dead.
No. All right, can somebody drop the link? I can't find it. I know No Night by Cares gave me the link. I can't find it. Is this it? No. All right, then we'll do it the hard way. Man who filmed Ahmad's Aurbery death is charged with murder. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation arrested the man, William Bryan, who had recorded the fatal encounter in February. Oh, come on, man. You really gonna do this to me? I ain't putting no email in, man. Forget that. Let's go to our no source. Abraham. Let's check out channel 8. Third arrest made in an Ahmed Aurbery case. Glenn County, Georgia. A third arrest was made Thursday in the Ahmed Aurbery murder case, according to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. William Roddy Bryan Jr., 50, was arrested on charges of felony murder and criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment, GBI said. According to GBI, Bryan Jr. filmed the fatal shooting. These charges come after the incident in February that resulted in the death of Ahmed Aurbery. Bryan Jr. was booked into the Glenn County Jail in Georgia, GBI said. 2 men were previously arrested May 7th in connection with the case. And that's all they got. You're a lot of help. Let's see what NPR said. The man who filmed the video of the fatal shooting of Ahmed Aurbery in February has been arrested, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation said Thursday. William Roddy Bryan Jr. is also charged with felony murder and criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment. Bryan, 50, recorded the video that ignited anger and protest in the Brunswick, Georgia area earlier this month It shows Aurbery, who is black, jogging down a residential street. 2 white men confronting him in the ensuing struggle. 3 gunshots are fired before Aurbery falls to the ground. The other 2 men in the video, Gregory and Travis Michael, were arrested 2 days after the video became public, once the Georgia Bureau of Investigation took over the case. They were both charged with murder and aggravated assault. Even as supporters of Aurbery celebrate those arrests, they called for Brian to be arrested as well, alleging that he was involved in the February 23rd fatal shooting. Brian and his attorney, Kevin Gall, have appeared on television recently and denied any involvement or any relationship with the McMichaels. Brian's name does appear in a police report filed the day of the shooting. Gregory and Michael told police that after he and his son Travis attempted and failed to stop Aurbery, Roddy tried to intercept him, according to the report. In a statement, lawyers for Aurbery parents said the family was relieved to learn of Brian's arrest. We want anyone who participated in the murder of Mr. Aurbery to be held accountable, they said. Hey, what happened? Alrighty. I just showed you why the cameraman was arrested. The driver, I just showed you. This chase was longer than the video that we seen. They not only chased him down the street, but they went down another street. I think it was a dead end. The way the video made it look like Ronnie was trying to catch up to them. But in actuality, he changed the course of Aurbery's running. Aurbery was running down. He came up, Aurbery turned around and ran back toward the McMichaels. Now, how did Aurbery get so far ahead of the car? Was he fiddling for a gun? How did Aurbery get so far ahead of the car? Yeah, it seems like he cut him off. And then when he was going into the grass, he was coming up behind him. Now Aurbery didn't know that there was a drainage ditch there that he couldn't have followed him if he wanted to. And even so, on the other side of the house is water. What's he gonna do? Drive in the water? But because it is water there, that road they went down, that road did end to the water. Because Aurbery stopped and turned back around and ran back. Why would he run down there and turn back around? Because of Ronnie. When he made it up to the truck, he started to go to the right. Travis was there with a gun. So he ran. He started to go to the left. Then he went to the right. And he was running up into the grass, and Ronnie was coming behind him in the car. Now, we first saw the video. You heard me ask, why didn't he run back to the guy and ask him for some help? That guy is the reason why he turned around. But we didn't see that in the video. Y'all understand? We didn't see that. Why was that part of the video being held? When they tried to stop Aurbery and he ran past them, that should have been it. That should have been it. He didn't stop. You had the police on the way. Sad part is the police got there a second later. They heard the gunshots. Yes, somebody cut that part out of the video. And if Ronnie leaked the video, I believe he cut that part out the video. I believe that Ronnie cut that part of the video. I believe it's more video than that. I believe that he cut that part out the video. He released footage that didn't incriminate himself. Somebody talk to me. He released the footage that did not incriminate himself. Here's the reason why Travis ran back toward the McMichaels. He is the reason. They hunted that young man. They were in collusion against that young man. That young man didn't stand a chance. Yeah, somehow they recovered that footage because that's the only footage I've seen that long. Every time we see it, Ronnie coming around the bend. But we saw what happened before he came around the bend. What was Ronnie doing? What was Ronnie doing that allowed Ahmed to get so far ahead of him? Was he fiddling? Did he have a gun? Did he show Aurbery a gun? Why it take him so long in the car to catch up? That he's gunning it. He's going all the way around the bend. How the heck did Aurbery get so far ahead? So now I believe there was collusion. There was premeditation. If they around the bend, how did the McMichaels know to stand there and wait? How did the McMichaels know to stand there and wait? Why were they standing up waiting at the top of the hill? Why were they waiting? Ahmed was running the other way. Ronnie made him turn back the other way. But how did Travis and George know that he was coming that way? How did they know that he was coming that way? Let's go back and take a look. Let's watch this again.
Why is this allowed out here? Why?
In February, 25-year-old Ahmed Aurbery was shot dead in the South Georgia neighborhood of Satilla Shores. In the 2 months that followed, no arrests were made. But local residents and lawmakers protested what they said was a deadly combination of racial profiling and flawed self-defense laws.
When they stop you, make sure you got your cameras on. Make sure you got a video.
Police did eventually arrest 2 suspects, but it was days after this video of the fatal shooting emerged. Gregory McMichael and his son Travis were charged with murder and aggravated assault. The case has reignited the national debate over racial violence.
I'm sure you saw the news about Ahmed Aurbery. It looks like murder.
The American public saw the video.
What exactly happened in the last moments of Mr. Aurbery's life? Using security camera footage, cell phone video, and 911 calls and logs, the Times has reconstructed the critical 12 minutes from when Mr. Aurbery appeared on Satilla Drive to his death less than 300 yards away. It's around 1 p.m. on February 23rd when Ahmed Aurbery is out, less than 2 miles from his home. A security camera at 219 Satilla Drive is recording when Mr. Aurbery enters the frame at around 1:04 p.m. He may have been jogging in the area, but he stops on the front lawn of 220 Satilla, a house being built across the street. Aurbery glances around and wanders into the open construction site. Inside, security footage briefly captures him looking around. Meanwhile, outside, a neighbour walks from Jones Road towards Satilla Drive and calls 911.
There's a guy in our house right now that has under construction. 219 or 220 Satilla Drive.
The neighbour waits by the street corner. He will later tell the dispatcher that Aurbery resembles a recent trespasser in the area.
He's been caught on the camera a month before at night. Kind of an ongoing thing out here.
On multiple occasions before February 23rd, several trespassers were caught on camera at 220 Satilla. The owner routinely alerted the police. On 4 occasions, what appears to be the same man was filmed. It's unclear if this was Aurbery, but even if it were, this does not justify his shooting by neighbours outside on the street. The site's owner says nothing was ever stolen from the house during these incidents, all on February 23rd, and no property was ever damaged. But neighbours were aware of the trespasses, and the community was on alert. Now, back to the day in question. It's 1:08 p.m. and Aurbery is walking around inside the house. 4 minutes after he entered, he walks out and runs off.
He's running right now. Very good right now.
Okay, what is he doing?
Running down the street.
In the top corner of the security footage, we can see down the street to 230 Satilla, the home of Travis McMichael. At 1:10 p.m., Travis and his father, Gregory, grab their guns, jump in a white truck, and leave the house to pursue Mr. Aurbery. We don't have footage showing the next 3 minutes, but testimony Gregory McMichael gave police at the scene and interviews by another witness, Roddy Bryan, indicate what happened. Gregory and Travis McMichael follow Aurbery onto Burford Road. Their neighbour, Roddy Bryan, sees the pursuit, gets in his car and follows. The McMichaels try to cut Aurbery off. Aurbery doubles back and passes them. Bryan tries to block Aurbery, but Aurbery runs past him and toward Holmes Road. Gregory McMichael...
So hold on right there. You got him right there. He blocked him right there, but he ran past. So he ran past the McMichaels up here, then he ran past Ronnie down here. Okay?
Michael climbs from the cab to the bed of the truck, armed with a handgun. We don't know exactly what happens next, but Bryan and the McMichaels end up following Aurbery on Holmes Road, and we next see Aurbery at 1:14 p.m. running back down Holmes Road, away from Roddy Bryan and towards the McMichaels. Roddy Bryan is filming, and a warning, these scenes are distressing.
So let's pause it. All right.
Gregory McMichael dials 911 at this time.
911 was the address of emergency.
I'm not here. Tell us someone. It's a black male running down the street.
Where at Satilla Shores?
I don't know what's wrong. Stop! Stop that! Damn it! Stop! Sorry!
Sir, hello, sir.
Let's watch this back and break down what happens. This is Aurbery. He has been running from the vehicles for almost 4 minutes. Travis is standing by the driver's side of the truck, armed with a shotgun. Gregory is in the bed of the truck on the 911 call. Aurbery doesn't know where to run. He veers right, then left, and then darts around the right side of the vehicle. Aurbery comes around the front of the truck.
See the drainage ditch?
T-shirt through the windshield. And here is Travis, now leaning toward him. This is the instant the first shot is fired. Aurbery is hit in the chest, his right lung, ribs and sternum are injured. The two men wrestle over the gun. Gregory shouts. Aurbery punches Travis. In the back of the truck, Gregory drops the cell phone. A second blast goes off, out of frame, but we see the shotgun smoke here. Aurbery is heavily bleeding. He throws another punch. Travis fires a final shot, which hits Aurbery in his left upper chest. Travis walks away, holding his gun. Gregory gets off the truck, clutching his .357 Magnum. According to the police report, Gregory rolled Aurbery over to see if he had a weapon. He did not. Police officers arrive within seconds of the shooting, and a minute or so later, at 1:16 p.m., police officer Orr Minshew reports 2 subjects on Holmes Road, shots fired, male on ground, bleeding out. The police took Gregory McMichael's testimony and let the 2 men go. But now the McMichaels...
If you look at how that water goes all the way around. Look at how that water goes all the way around. Where was he going to run to? That water go all the way. There's water right there too. Where was he going to run to? Think about it. They're here on the water when they ran down. This road, you see it dead end, don't go nowhere. Did they go down here? But this road dead end. Is he gonna jump into the Everglades? Is that the floor of the Everglades? Where is he going? Ain't nowhere to go but go back the way you came and go over the bridge. Or jump into the water and pray the crocodiles don't get you. I think that's why they were waiting. So, this changes my whole opinion on the case. What about y'all? I think they are guilty of murder. Why? He ran by them the first time. Ronnie tried to cut him off. He ran by Ronnie. Ronnie cuts him off and makes him change his direction. And Ronnie's doing something while Travis is running. While Ahmed is running, and he think he in the clear. Then he look up and he see the McMichael standing there in the pickup waiting for him. And you seeing Ronnie fly around the corner. And he was flying up like he was trying to run Ahmed over. But that drainage ditch is there. So now he's panicking. I tried to get away. They keep cutting me off. Now you understand why he went for the gun. For those of y'all that don't know what was being said, if this was California, he could have kept running. They got hundreds of blocks that connect together and don't dead end. He's out there on the water. And you see the water in circles. It looked like the only way to get back was to go back up that road. And that's what I think Ahmed was trying to do, get back to Centella so he can go back over the bridge. What do y'all think? Give me your honest opinion. What do y'all think? I don't know why I'm so tired, and I don't know why my back won't stop hurting. Whew, my back is hurting. All right, y'all. We got other stories. Let's get to it. It's Throwdown Thursday. It's time to throw it down. All right, Midland County, Michigan. Hey. The dams failed. What? You're here with 2 commercials. Man, put some clothes on. Probably want to see that. Look at that, y'all. Look at that water. It's pushing through. Look how it's coming over the sides. That boy be a dam. Water coming over the sides. Look at it. Now Flint ain't got no water, but Midland got too much water. Look at that. Car just sitting there. Damn. Pickup truck stuck. He said, get out and swim for it. Look at that. Look at the little hybrid. These cars now boats. Look at the sign. It's halfway up the sign. Look at that. Now that's a houseboat. There you go, y'all. That is a houseboat. Look at that. Look at that. They sitting there laughing. That's tragedy. They're going to another houseboat. Does the air conditioner still work sitting there? Oh man, look at that. Look at that. That's a pretty house too right there. I like the yellow house. Like, Mom, we're finally on the water. You always wanted to live near the water. Can't get no closer than this. Look at that. If you live near a bridge, dam, I would advise you to sell your house. Whoa, that house covered. Yeah, that house ain't no more good. You gotta tear that apart. You can never get the mold out of that. Look at that tree. You getting plenty of water today. Listen to how the wind is pushing the water. Man. Man. Yeah, don't live near no dam. You'll be damned if you do, and you'll be damned if you don't. That's crazy. And the federal government warned them about, I ain't gonna say nothing. Don't nobody listen. I ain't gonna waste my time. This came up in my community post. I want y'all to hear this and see the foolishness. This person averages around 800 to 1,000 views a video. So let's read. So I have teeth missing on the left side, I suppose. And even though I don't wear makeup ever except lip glosses / lipstick. This is the picture going around distributed by Sheba. All to prove I'm ugly, I guess. And after pressing send to every person she could think of after formulating her she's less appealing vote, she's been on YouTube for almost 5 years and can't seem to get 1,000 subs to save her life. I'll take ugly but interesting any day over ugly, corny, useless, and boring. My husband has 1 wife, me. Yours has 3, you and 2 others. You lost before pressing send. Enough. Heavy on the moist. You lose socially and personally not being enough. I get why you're mad. Hey, fairy soul, you're obsessed with Saint. Yet Saint wishes I wasn't taken, yet you aren't taken up. But he passed you up. I won both races before y'all got to the starting line. Keep the lies coming though. I'll post the left side of my teeth and my rolls before he gets knee deep in me. What are y'all doing tonight? This is what y'all watch on YouTube. This is the kind of foolishness. You got people that's homeless. And they're in shelters. And most of the people sleeping in the cars because they don't want to go in the shelters because everybody not wearing masks. And you got people talking this dumb mess on the internet. Oh, Lord. Lord help us. Talking this foolishness. That's what it is, foolishness. Let's keep going.
HDA is proud to support our front. Cited by the White House for reopening implication projects less deaths between now and August, if and only if people wear masks. So Trump, of course, refuses to wear one. That's all you need to know about this president. Forget the rest of the noise about what he's taking or what he's doing. History will remember his as the story of inaction. Inaction on masks, testing, tracing, and I hope now you know why. He sees it all as bad because he just wants to reopen regardless of the risks, because he thinks it would be better for him. He does not care what happens to the rest of us, apparently. So tonight, I have no interest in what he's saying or not doing. I want the best ideas on what you and I should do for our families. How to handle work situations, school, barbecues, trips, pools, parks, because change is coming, ready or not. So let's do what the White House won't. Let's figure out the best way to protect ourselves. Together as ever as one. Let's get after it. Look, it's too easy a case to make. It's a quick reality check, okay? Despite America not having the largest population in the world, right? We know that. We do have more COVID cases than anywhere else. This is bad, period. Except in the mind of one man, the guy who thinks magic pills and disappearing viruses are real.
When we have a lot of cases, I don't look at that as a bad thing. I look at that as, in a certain respect, as being a good thing, because it means our testing is much better. So if we were testing 1 million people instead of 14 million people, we would have far fewer cases, right? So I view it as a badge of honor. Really, it's a badge of honor.
First of all, for a badge of honor, he would have wanted to test sooner. But let's take his number. The president says we've done 14 million tests. The COVID tracking project puts it at about 12 million. But let's give it to Trump. Assume 14. Still, the math that matters here is how many tests you do per capita, per person. Why? Because if you don't do it per population, you're not going to know how much penetration you're getting into that society. It's not about the raw number of tests. So the real metric is that we've done about one test for every 28 tests for every 1,000 of us. 28 tests per 1,000 people, okay? So if that's the metric, an aggregation of data from last week shows that more than 30 countries rank higher than we do in per capita testing. That's apples to apples. Now, a few takeaways on why. We suck on this all-important metric because we started late, after the virus started to spread in communities. Remember, Trump did not make testing a priority. He was too busy calling COVID a hoax, blaming it on Democrats, and telling us all it would go away after a dozen cases. Also, almost every other country, and this probably matters most, at least to me, you tell me your thoughts. Almost every other country that has shown progress here has made testing and tracing their organizing principle that drives reopening. Because, facts, for some, magical thinking isn't enough. But I will repeat the part that you have to remember here. Our president doesn't like testing or tracing or masks for basically one bad reason. They may make people less pumped to reopen recklessly. This is there's one thing I want you to hear from him tonight, and it says everything you need to know.
When you test, you have a case. When you test, you find something is wrong with people.
When you test, you find a case. You find out something is wrong with people. Finding out who is sick and who is not wrong. It is information that helps us make decisions that are right. Again, please remember this. This is your brain on Trump.
When you test, you have a case. When you test, you find something is wrong with people.
That's all you need to know about how he thinks about this. More cases? Wrong. Wearing mask? No. Taking pill that even state news admits may kill someone like him? That's the right thing to do. Dr. Sanjay Gupta is here. There's no cure for what's ailing that kind of thinking. So I'll keep you out of that, and let's deal with some of the big components of where we are right now and how we have to understand it. First, as of Tuesday, at least 17 states have recorded a clear upward trend of average new daily cases. It's a rise of about at least 10% over the past 7 days. This is based on an analysis of data from Johns Hopkins. Now, how concerning is this in this context? We don't know that this is about reopening, because most of these states that were going up, that we're seeing the increases in, they were increasing already before reopening, right?
That's right. That's right. They did not follow, again, the gating criteria that we talked about earlier. So I don't think any of the states have actually met that criteria in terms of both having a documented 14-day downward trend and the availability of robust testing to quickly identify people who are newly infected. Chris, I think that it's tough to know what to make of this data. There's a couple reasons why. I think we're following this day to day, which is understandable, but I think we're going to have to widen the aperture a little bit in terms of how we look at these numbers and look at them really week to week and even over a month. People know now between the time that someone might get exposed, the time they might develop symptoms, the time they might get a test, the time they might get hospitalized, if they sadly die, how long that takes. My point is there's a long period of a period in between here. So I don't think we really know what's going on. We've seen a little bit of what happened in Texas over the last few days. As they opened, the numbers jumped up. It could have been that more people were tested that day. It's tough to really read into this data on a day-to-day, even over a couple of week time period. I think we're going to need to look at this over several weeks. I also think that even though states are reopening, Chris, I think one of the things that comes out of this IHME model is how are people behaving still, even if they're reopened? Are people going out as much, even if it's open? Some people choose not to still. And if they do go out, just simply wearing masks, according to Chris Murray, the author of these projections, makes a huge difference, he said. They expected the numbers to be higher. They revised their projection down despite states opening. Why? Mainly because he said people were wearing masks more than they expected, and the masks were having more of an impact than they realized. So there is a piece of potentially good news or actionable news, I think, for people who go out. Wear your mask. A lot of people are doing it, but it really does seem to make a difference.
Why am I laughing? A lot of people are doing it. That's what they base their model on in terms of the downward projection. And the president won't wear a mask. I mean, how do we expect people in this country to really take it seriously when doing so means they have to basically believe their president is an idiot?
This worries me. I mean, and I know it's, I'm not trying to hammer this point, but obviously the president is worried about an exposure that he had in the White House. And I think that's why he started taking this medication, right? There sounds like there was a significant exposure.
And he has people tested all the time, and he's doing deep tracing on the people who get it. All the things he doesn't want to do on a national level. So he's worried.
Correct. He's worried, and he's worried about himself, which is why he is taking this medication now, a medication that has no proven benefit in terms of preventing the infection. Yet he's worried enough about it from his exposure that he's taking a medicine. But if he has the virus in his body, he also knows that he could be then spreading it. Mm-hmm. That's why you wear the mask, to decrease the spread. So he's worried enough about him actually having it that he'll take a medication that is potentially harmful, has no proven benefit, but not wear a mask to decrease the spread.
Mask as metaphor, Sanjay. Not everybody's like you. You will do things for other people, no matter the level of personal sacrifice. There are other people in this country, like our president, who focuses on what is good for him. Hydroxychloroquine, or whatever it's called, is good for him because it fuels the narrative that nobody else knows what they're talking about. Ignoring testing and tracing and reopening recklessly is good for him because it hopefully will get some economic energy going, and the risk he'll blame on someone else. Wearing a mask is about everybody else. not his focus. But it is yours, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, and that is why some will call you a national treasure. You are the best. Thank you, my friend.
That means a lot from you, Chris. Thank you.
Are you kidding me? I wouldn't be here without you. If you hadn't kept my head steady, I don't know, I'd still be in the basement.
An honor to do it, my brother.
You're the best. I love you and thank you.
Alrighty. I was relaxing now. Back is really bothering me. Alrighty. Yes, the driver. Less people without masks. And why is that, the driver? Part of the reason is people just stupid. Another reason is people are selfish. But you can also say, they see the president ain't wearing one, so why should I wear one? President of the United States ain't wearing one, why should I wear one? Has anybody in this chat been offered a test? Anybody? Anybody in this chat been offered a test? I haven't. I heard they painful too, but I haven't been offered a test. Y'all been offered a test? He telling you not to wear a mask, but he testing people around him. I've seen people say that they not gonna wear a mask. All right, y'all, let me get y'all opinion on this. It's Throwdown Thursday. And we coming out swinging at everybody. Apple and Google are building a coronavirus tracking system into iOS and Android. On Friday, Apple and Google announced a system for tracking the spread of the new CV, allowing users to share data through Bluetooth Low Energy transmissions and approved apps from health organizations. The new system, which is laid out in a series of documents and white papers, will use short-range Bluetooth communications to establish a voluntary contact tracing network, keeping extensive data on phones that have been in close proximity with each other. Official apps from public health authorities will get access to this data, and users who download them can report if they've been diagnosed with COVID-19. The system will also alert people who download them to whether they were in close contact with an infected person. Apple and Google will introduce a pair of iOS and Android APIs in mid-May and make sure these health authorities apps can implement them. During this phase, users will still have to download an app to participate in contact tracing, which could limit adoption. But in the months after the API is complete, the companies will work on building tracing functionality into the underlying operating system as an option immediately available to everyone with an iOS or Android phone. Example: Alicia and Bob meet each other for the first time and have a 10-minute conversation. Bob is positively diagnosed for COVID-19 and enters the test result in an app from a public health authority. The phones exchange anonymous identifier beacons, which change frequently. A few days later, with Bob's consent, his phone uploads the last 14 days of keys for his broadcast beacons to the cloud. Contact tracing, which involves figuring out who an infected to do, raises massive privacy concerns and questions about effectiveness. Earlier this week, the American Civil Liberties Union raised concerns about tracking users with phone data, arguing that any system would need to be limited in scope and avoid compromising user privacy. Unlike some other methods, like say using GPS data, this Bluetooth pan wouldn't track people's physical location. It will basically pick up the signals of nearby phones at 5-minute intervals and store the connections between them in the database. If one person does test positive for the CV, they can tell the app they've been affected, and it can notify other people whose phones passed within close range in the preceding days. The system also takes a number of steps to prevent people from being identified, even after they've shared their data. While the app regularly sends information out over Bluetooth, it broadcasts an anonymous key rather than a static identity, and those keys cycle every 15 minutes to preserve privacy. Even once a person shared they've been infected, the app will only share keys from a specific period in which they were contagious. Crucially, there is no centrally accessible master list of which phones have matched, contagious or otherwise. That's because the phones themselves are performing the cryptographic calculations required to protect privacy. The central servers only maintain the database of shared keys rather than the interaction between those keys. The method still has potential weakness. In crowded areas, it can flag people in the adjacent rooms who aren't actually sharing space with the user, making people worry unnecessarily. It may not capture the nuance of how long someone's been exposed. Working next to an affected person all day, for example, will expose you to a much greater viral load than walking by them on the street. And it depends on people having apps in the short term and up-to-date smartphones in the long term, which can mean it's less effective in areas with lower connectivity. It's also a relatively new program, and Apple and Google are still talking to public health authorities and other stakeholders about how to run it. This system probably can't replace old-fashioned methods of contact tracing, which involve interviewing affected people about where they've been and who they spent time with, but it could offer a high-tech supplement using a device that billions of people already own. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Y'all think there's no way for the government to get in your business? There's no way for the government to spy on you? There's no way for the government to see how you raise your kids? There's a way for the government to watch you love making if you leave the phones in the bedroom. Don't take your phones to the bedroom. Leave them on the hallway. Don't take your cell phones to the bedroom. Leave them in the hallway. I'm asking. I'm just asking. Can I move this out the way? Well, I don't know, y'all. The phone doing pretty good. Am I frozen? Are we frozen? Why are we frozen? We wasn't frozen. So what do y'all think? You see my hands? I don't know, it's doing pretty good so far. I gave us hell yesterday. But like I said, we're using a newer phone. And even though it's a ZTE, it got 3 megabyte of RAM. So, I think I look a lot better. What do y'all think? To the chat real quick. All right, let's get back in. Y'all notice our screen's a little smaller. We're not using a 4K pace. We're just doing straight 2K. So the screen size is a little smaller, but less stress on the phone and the computer. And it looks pretty good. All right, where we at now? I think we here. That's DNW. I know we can get rid of that.
Welcome back, folks. Great to have you with us tonight. We're going to take a look at a whole bunch of stories. But for those of you who maybe didn't watch the show last night or didn't read the internet in the last couple of days, some big news here at Court TV. We have a new member of the Court TV family. Let's bring her back in. Ashley Banfield joins us tonight, hunkered down from her home. Ashley, great to have you aboard.
I'm glad you're in your basement because it's nice and quiet. And I'm just going to forewarn you, Vinny, that I'm in my office and my dog sometimes barks and I just have to live with it. So if that happens, fair warning.
If it happens, it happens. Maybe he'll sniff out some clues in some of these cases we're looking at. Let's start with the Doomsday Cult mom, Lori Vallow Daybell. And this is the case. She's got 2 missing children. She's got 3 adults in her life that are dead. She's married someone that believes the world is going to end in July of 2020. She's under arrest. I wanted to take a look at her and her demeanor and get your take, Ashley, at different moments of this drama that is playing out before us. Let's begin, and this is body cam footage from the day. I mean, these are like the moments that she has just found out that her husband has been shot and killed by her brother in her house. So let's take a look at that. Does your husband live here? Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. How long have you guys lived here? How long have you lived here? Oh, geez. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Are you working at all? No. All right, Ashley, let me start. I mean, that reaction, that demeanor, like moments after you find out your husband's been shot and killed by your brother.
Yeah, it's one thing for me to say, hi, Vinny. It's another for you to say, hi, neighbor, when I think the corpse of your ex-husband, or not even ex-husband yet, is still in the house. That's uncomfortable. And don't forget that, look, it seems sport-like to discuss it, as this case is, unraveling. But when you're in a courtroom, when you're a juror meeting that woman for the first time, if she ends up on trial for this, or for the myriad other charges that she could face with all the mysteries that are sort of, wound up in this whole story, the only thing you get to know about her is what she looks like across the courtroom and stuff like this. Because this isn't the kind of thing that you easily suppress. This is directly related to the moment of that crime. It's a body cam video, it's police video. It's not easily suppressible, right? And so you get to know what she's like at that moment. I'm a little reminded here of Chris Watts out in Colorado, who killed his 2 little kids and threw their bodies in oil and killed his wife, Shanann Watts, as well. His demeanor was really weird as well on camera out in front of his house within, hours/days of his wife being murdered. So these are the kinds of things that they don't get past jurors.
Let's get to the second circumstance now. Now the thing has developed. Her husband's been shot and killed. Now her 2 children JJ and Tylee are missing, and she's in Hawaii with her new husband, Chad. Let's take a look at how she reacts at this moment.
Listen, just tell people what's happening. There's people around the country praying for your children, praying for you guys. Why don't you give us answers?
That's great.
That's great. That's great that they're praying for you, praying for your kids. What? You have nothing to say? Did you do something to your children? Are your children still alive? That's a simple question. I got 3 kids of my own. I can tell you every minute where my kids are at. Where are your children?
Still hasn't answered that question, but what do you think of that clip where she's confronted down in Hawaii when everyone is looking for her kids?
Yeah, I'm extremely uncomfortable because, like the reporter said, I know where my kids are at every waking moment and sleeping moment. And so for her to be so cool about it, walking away from the reporter and not answering the critical question in this case, where are these children? Everyone's worried. How could you not be as worried as those who were praying for those kids? It's uncomfortable, and like everything, it brings up another case. It reminds me of someone else who played shell games with a missing child. It was Casey Anthony. And if I say Lori Bell want this case to be sort of less inky in the press, then she better not do the same things that Casey Anthony did. And that was not answer the critical question of where her missing child was for weeks and weeks on end. Lori's going down that same path.
She's been in the courtroom in Idaho. She made an appearance in Hawaii, and then she was back in Idaho. And I want to show this video because there's a couple of things that kind of stick out. First, her appearance, and here she is as she's exiting, smiling, smirking, walks right past JJ's grandparents. Like, just struts right past them with her blonde hair, and somehow she got lipstick. I don't know how that happened, but you can see Kay, grandma, kind of like giving her the side eye there. Your thoughts about her appearance in court in Idaho?
So much. Oh God, so much. First of all, this also reminds me of sort of Joey Arias to be there in the courtroom, that I am better than all of you. It reminds me a little of Casey Anthony as well. I'm better than you. I'm beautiful. Can't touch this. And a little like that. Meanwhile, there are children missing. She's not popping up the location. And let's not forget the charge she's facing. She haven't been in it. Get out of the situation you're in. If you just got up where the kids are, you're facing child abandonment, tell the judge where the kids are. Problem goes away. That's not happening. So there's something else going on here. And then when the jury again comes to the court, there's no jury in that courtroom, but if when the jury does get to look at her and she pulls that kind of behavior, that doesn't go well either. They don't like to see all the fancy makeup and the fancy hair and the smirk, and they sure don't like to see you walk by greeting sad family members, because they spot that stuff in a heartbeat.
Let's get to our next story, and this one very shocking. You got a 27-year-old former nanny, registered foster mom, who is charged with felony pornography. Her name's Nicole Water. Lewd and lascivious exhibition with a victim under 16 years old, obscene material, possession and controlled depiction of child sexual conduct, and of course she's got some aliases with it. This is a difficult one. I mean, she's young, but just the position that she is in to be charged with these types of offenses. She was someone's nanny.
She was not only someone's nanny, but she was a registered foster parent, like you said, and so there could be plenty of kids out there who have fallen victims to this alleged predator. There could be plenty of parents out there who are watching you and me right now thinking, Jesus, that woman's in my house. And the sheriff in that location wants you to call because they're very worried there could be many more victims out there. Here, and again, she has 3 different names. Nicole Stearns,
let's take a listen to
this that she uses.
And you just froze there for a second. That's, nature of the beast, where we are these days. The video froze for just a moment there, actually. I thought we were stuck. But let's listen to the sheriff down in Scantling County.
Okay.
So today I want to take just a couple of minutes to talk to you about what we consider next to homicide, probably one of the worst of crimes. And those are crimes involving our children. When we first got the reports on Miss Walter and started the investigation,
if the allegations are true, one of the witnesses that tipped off the authorities said that this young woman, again, 3 different names, Nicole Walter, Nicole Stepp, or Nicole Stearns, she said that Nicole told her she has clients that have fetishes about her pleasuring herself in front of kids. That's what the tipster told the authorities. And then on further investigation, the authorities were able to somehow interview a 3-year-old girl who they say is a victim of Nicole Walter, and that 3-year-old allegedly told authorities that Nicole had inappropriately touched her vagina multiple occasions. So there are very different charges here, not only just the possession of child porn, but the behavior, the lewd, lascivious behavior in front of kids, and then also the actual sexual acts of children.
Let's put the number up on the screen just in case anyone recognizes her tonight, either her picture or her name, so they know where you can call. You can call the Escambia County Sheriff's Office at 850-436-9586. I don't know where she's lived. I don't know where she's been, but take a look at that face, and hopefully there aren't more victims, but if there are, they certainly need help with all of that. Final story tonight. Supreme Court, and this one I think would surprise a lot of people, including me, because we don't cover a lot of cases out of Louisiana or Oregon. But apparently, in those 2 states, you could convict someone at a criminal trial without even having this jury. You didn't have to get 12-0. You could win the trial 10-2, which to me is insane. But finally, the Supreme Court actually overturned the opinion that they had and said, that's it, no mas. It's got to be union.
You said the audio breaking up. All right, hold on. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah. Hang on a second, yeah. Hello, 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 hello. All right, we back. Y'all let me know when that happens so I can let me know when that happens. It's the program. Y'all let me know when that happens so I can when that happens. Alrighty. Let's keep it going. Did we watch this?
Why is this allowed out here? Why?
In February, 25...
No, we already saw that. What about this one?
I feel an overwhelming sense of relief he is dead. I lay in bed too many nights wondering whose life he is destroying now. I know now he isn't hurting any more children and their loved ones. Sexual abuse does not just affect the victim.
All right, another one of the stories we're covering tonight in our Crime Time segment. We bring in our own experts with lots of experience and insight. Still with us tonight, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Lee. Also with us, Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey. Great to have you both here. Next story coming to us from KMTV in Omaha, Nebraska. A sex offender murdered.
Saturday morning, Omaha police respond to a shooting at a home near 43rd and Pinckney. 64-year-old Matteo Condalucci is found dead inside. Condalucci is a registered sex offender and served a 5-year prison sentence for sexually assaulting a child in 2006 in Sarpy County, and was also convicted in Florida of a similar crime in 1993. He got probation in that case. 43-year-old James Fairbanks is booked for his murder and is at the Douglas County Jail. Prosecutors believe Fairbanks sent an anonymous email to local media explaining why he allegedly did it. It explains the killer knew about Condalucci's past crimes against children and saw him staring at kids playing near his home. It later says the killer worked with kids for years that have been victimized and couldn't allow Condalucci to do it to anyone else. It also gives details of the alleged murder weapon and crime scene. Fairbanks has been a paraprofessional with Omaha Public Schools for about the last 3.5 years. The mother of one of Condalucci's child victims started a Facebook page in 2016 to make people aware of what they say is a predator that moves from state to state, preying on single mothers to get his hands on child victims, and that he's back on the streets. Now, a number of comments saying that they should free James Fairbanks and help pay for an attorney to defend him. Some have even called him a hero. In a written response, Lisa Smith, the mother of one of Condalucci's child victims, who lives out of state, says, quote, "I feel an overwhelming sense of relief he is dead. I lay in bed too many nights wondering whose life he is destroying now. I know now he isn't hurting any more children and their loved ones. Sexual abuse does not just affect the victim." The Omaha Police Department wouldn't comment, saying the investigation is ongoing. The Douglas County Attorney's Office will respond once Fairbanks is formally charged. Some on social media wonder if Fairbanks is convicted, if he'll have to serve more prison time than Condalucci ever did.
All right, this is a difficult one. Have you ever seen a confession like this, though? He writes the letter out, explaining everything. Lieutenant Colonel, let me start with you.
I've never personally dealt with anything like this, Vinny, but you know, you get kind of caught in the middle there, because no law enforcement officer would ever condone vigilantism, but you have to empathize somewhat with Mr. Fairbanks. Although he did commit a crime, this person that he killed was someone who was a very, very bad person who probably was not going to stop what he was doing, apparently. But so it puts you in a precarious position as an officer. You have to do your job, you have to make the arrest, but it doesn't mean that you can't feel some way, some form of empathy for the situation.
Sergeant, you ever come across one like this?
Yeah,
no, personally I have not, but I have a problem with this gentleman taking the law into his own hands. Listen, he's a horrible individual and he did some awful things, but we can't speak to what's in his head or what he might do. And so what we need to do is look at changing the laws that would allow someone who can't be rehabilitated, who has a proclivity to molesting and abusing children in the way that he did, lock him up and leave him in jail forever. Because where do we draw the line? If it's okay to kill somebody who molested children and is looking at them, what do we do about someone who rapes women and may be found oogling at a woman? Do we kill him too because I can't sleep at night on the off chance that he may rape again, break into a house, steal a Snickers from a grocery store? Where do you draw the line? You don't get to take the law into your own hands.
Lieutenant Colonel, how do you think Fairbanks is being treated in jail?
Probably well. That's one of those situations. Unfortunately, in jail, there's a different type of society going on behind those walls, and if you hurt a police officer, you're treated well. If you hurt an individual that kills or maims children or rapes women, you're not going to be treated well. So Mr. Condalucci would have a rough time in prison, whereas Mr. Fairbanks probably would not.
Lieutenant Colonel Adam Lee, Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, always great to have you on the show. Please come back again.
Alrighty. Alrighty, what do y'all think about that? Anybody got any comments? Did we see this already? Oh, now I find it.
We begin tonight with huge breaking news.
Now I find it.
Death of Ahmed Aurbery, and this is a game changer in the way this case is being prosecuted, and they are getting aggressive. Now a third man has been arrested. We've got a lot to cover tonight. We've got the best team of legal journalists in the business with me tonight. On my right, Julie Grant, Ted Rollins. On my left, Ashley Banfield and Chanley Painter. And we begin with Chanley Painter, who's been following everything. Chanley, give us the big news, the big headlines of what happened today.
Well, exactly 2 weeks after the GBI arrested Travis and Gregory McMichael, they now arrest a third person, William Roddy Bryan. He's the one responsible for the now viral video of the tragic shooting of Ahmed Aurbery. He is now being charged with felony murder and criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment. We know now that he's been booked in the
See, they always started right here.
Giving a lot of details. They have a press conference scheduled for tomorrow, but in the video that we are playing right now, we know that Bryan had his cell phone while he was driving, following along Aurbery down the road, and then, of course, captures the tragic incident. But we also know in the police report that Gregory McMichael tells police after this happened that, quote, Roddy attempted to block Aurbery in and was unsuccessful. Now, the family of Aurbery has been calling for the arrest of Bryan since the beginning, saying that he was an armed accomplice in the murder of Aurbery. And they also released a statement today saying they were, quote, relieved at Bryan's arrest and, quote, the involvement to them in the murder of Mr. Aurbery was obvious. And to many around the country, and after the thorough investigation, it was also clear to the GBI. Now, recently, Bryan and his attorney, Kevin Goff, have been making the rounds, speaking out in the media, saying that he was no way responsible for this. He was innocent. The latest news was that he bought his own lie detector test to prove that he was innocent. And we've reached out to Kevin Goff. He's yet to return any of our messages for comment, but that is the latest that we know as of right now.
And these are huge developments. You're talking about felony murder, which is the same charge that the other two defendants are facing. In felony murder in Georgia, that's the same as malice murder. It is the top charge. This is, let me bring everyone in here. Ashley Banfield, I'm a little surprised with the felony murder charge, but not necessarily surprised because now somehow it puts all three defendants in the same place. And maybe you just try them all together. I don't know. But your reaction tonight, Ashley, to this third arrest and third charge for felony murder.
Yeah, I'm super perplexed. The underlying felony would have to be that criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment. So I am working my way through that, trying to figure out how they will make a case against him if he stayed in his cab of his vehicle the entire time he was filming this, and he was going in the same direction as Mr. Aurbery.
See, she ain't seen it. She didn't.
Struggling to get my head around the facts. They might know something that I don't know. That's for sure. That's always the case. I can't wait for Friday's news conference. But I'm just struggling with the notion of false imprisoning someone or attempting to false imprison someone. If you are still in the cab of your car, you have not gotten out of your car, and that person dies before you do get out of the car. It's just, for me, that's the underlying felony, and you've got to have that for felony murder.
Yeah, and one of the magic words here, Julie Grant, may be the attempt. An attempt at false imprisonment. Maybe it wasn't successful, but I think they're leaning on the attempt aspect of this as this underlying felony for the felony murder. I'm wondering what's on these other videos that we haven't seen.
Perhaps, and we need to know more. We know very little at this juncture, but the way I was looking at from my view, I was thinking investigators perhaps are viewing Roddy Bryan as a co-conspirator with Gregory and Travis McMichael, and because with their instance, we know aggravated assault is the underlying felony, and the way I was viewing this was that they're saying this death. A felony murder essentially in most jurisdictions is a death that occurs during the commission of a felony, right? So somebody goes in to rob a bank and somebody pulls a trigger and it was supposed to just be a robbery and all of a sudden someone's shot and killed. Now all of a sudden it's felony murder and even the guy in the getaway car gets charged with it even though he didn't pull the trigger. So think of that analogy. We've got Roddy Bryant in the car. He's somewhat removed from it. But this tells me investigators think he was in on this, that there was some kind of a plan, even a quick plan for the three of them to act in concert. So I think that added salt from the shooting and the attack by the McMichaels is what prosecutors are using as the underlying felony with the charging of Roddy Bryant. The one thing that really shocked me is that there's no stalking charge here. To me, I saw stalking viewing that video, and perhaps the grand jury may return something to that effect. We shall see, Vinny, but that's just my vantage point.
Yeah. And Ted, everything we're talking about here tonight is exactly what you broke down for us last night here on the show. In what is happening prior to what we see on the video. So I'm wondering how they're piecing this all together.
I think that the false imprisonment attempted is Roddy Bryant using his vehicle. And if you look at the path that Ahmed Aurbery took, he was doubling back, going past these vehicles, but they seem to be working in concert in chasing him down using their vehicles. You've got the McMichaels blocking on this side, Roddy coming back on the other side, converging. I think that's where they're going. I also agree there's got to be more video.
Yeah, there has to be. Chanley, was there any indication today on the factual basis for this, whether there's, because we've heard the defense talk about the video, supposedly helping them, about the basis for this. Could it be as simple as the statement that was made by McMichael that you referenced? But that statement couldn't necessarily be used in court against Roddy Bryant. It's hearsay, unless McMichael comes in and testifies to it.
Right, there has to be some other evidence, and I did speak with Lee Merritt today, and I asked him, is there more than one video? Because Gregory McMichael's attorneys the other day when they had their press conference shocked us by saying there's more than one video of the incident. And again, Lee Merritt confirming today that he's seen the other video, their cell phone video and their surveillance video that we've not seen of this incident, of the chase leading up to and of the shooting. So again, more evidence to show that Brian was somehow a part of this group working with the McMichaels and a party to felony murder.
Yeah, so trying to trap him in, trying to unlawfully detain him, is that the attempt at false imprisonment? Could be. You mentioned you spoke with Lee Merritt. Let's take a listen to a little bit what he said. And again, this is before the late breaking news that Roddy Bryant had in fact been arrested and charged.
William Bryan, also known as Roddy, we know obviously he was there because he admits that he took the video. We know that he was in his truck and that he was traveling around following Ahmed, again from his attorney's statements. Now, there was some ambiguity early on from my office and from other investigators as to how he became involved in the case, but his attorney began at least to offer his explanation, which was he was sitting at home. And all his attorney tells us is within minutes he was behind Ahmed Aurbery recording him. So we know that he left his home, we know that he got in his truck, and we know that he joined this pursuit. Now, his co-conspirator, Gregory McMichael, has said that he actively participated in trying to box Ahmed Aurbery in, that he was unsuccessful at first, and then we saw at in the video itself that eventually he was successful, blocking his point of exit when forcing Ahmed Aurbery to come into the confrontation with the McMichaels. Those facts actually aren't in dispute. The only thing really that seems to be in dispute is what that means or whether or not that was criminal. And from my perspective and from our experts, that's clearly playing a key role in this event, and Mr. Bryant will likely have to face criminal charges and prosecution as well. I think that's going to be up to the district attorney and the grand jury. I can say that when someone is murdered and other people participated in, although they may not be the trigger man, a common charge that we see is felony murder, that you participated in this event that caused the death of another human being, and so you will be charged with their murder as well.
Alrighty. Alrighty, y'all. You right now, it's more video. And like I said, the video that we saw is the video that Ronnie released. I believe that he edited the video. That shows him far back and catching up. Because that's where the video starts at. Where is the video of him following and getting ahead of him? Where's the video of him running around the truck? Then him going down the road. Then Roddy coming up on him, makes him change his direction and run back the other way. Where is that video? Where is that video? So we got more video coming up. So this changes my opinion. Told you, this case got more legs on it than a caterpillar. They hunted that young man down. And I don't believe their intent was to kill him. But their intent was to catch him. You ain't getting away this time, boy. I believe their intent so I believe it is more video. So I can't wait to cover this trial in June. And we're going to be here every day with updates. We're going to cover this trial. But my opinion definitely has changed. I don't know about y'all's. My opinion has changed in this case. All right. Let's take a break from the bad news and see some of my good news. This person says, I received two $1,200 stimulus payments. One was direct deposit and the other was a paper check. I cashed the check. But shoot, send me another one. Yeah. I received two stimulus checks. One was direct deposit and the other was a paper check. I should have only received one check. I fully expect the Internal Revenue Service will want the second check refunded. I cashed the paper check, but I put the cash aside so that I won't spend it. How can I return the second check to the IRS? I couldn't find anything on the IRS website. Some people are upset they didn't receive a large enough checks, while others have received two payments. Somebody responds, Dear Jason, this is not a surprising turn of events. Some people are upset they didn't receive a large enough check or no economic impact payment at all. Other taxpayers said they received stimulus checks for their relatives, while you have received two. This man said he was effectively punished by the government for being responsible because he filed his 2019 taxes early and received $200 for his household. You can return the money via check or money order with the notation 2020 EI plus the Social Security number or taxpayer ID of the check recipient. Those people who received the paper check and did not cash it can write void on the back of the check's endorsement section and mail it back to the IRS according to the IRS directions. See 4041 with explanation. Don't miss. People who did not receive a check this year, only a small amount, and believe their income will fall below the required threshold for checks next year, could still receive a stimulus payment next year. The IEP is technically an advance payment of tax credit on your 2020 return. The IRS is using 2019 returns to gauge people's incomes. 2018 tax returns are used as a plan B. The IRS sent out about 128.3 million stimulus checks so far and already paid 218.4 billion, which is the most stimulus money that's been set aside for direct payments to families and individuals across America as the CV outbreak continues, the agency said last week. That will obviously be welcome for more than 30 million people who are out of a job. Bravo for doing the right thing. It does bring more fairness to this often haphazard process. 1/3 of Americans say they expect their share of stimulus money won't even sustain them for a full month, according to this survey. Chuck Rittig, the commissioner for the Federal Tax Agency, said, "We are working hard to continue delivering these payments to Americans who need them." Thank you, Jason, for doing your part. I got one question. If you was going to return the money, why you cash it? Somebody answer that. If you were going to return the money, why did you cash it? I'm listening. If you were going to return the money, why did you cash the check? Somebody explain. Can somebody explain? If you were going to cash the money, if you were going to return the money, why did you cash the check? I'm asking the question. If you were going to return the money, why did you cash the check? I'm just asking. If they make a mistake and send me one in the mail, I'm going to set it to the side. And even if I cashed it, I would set it to the side. If a year go by and they don't ask for it, then I'll start spending it. I'll give them a whole year. They come back and say, "Hey, we sent you two by mistake. Here's your money right here, sir." They don't say nothing. But if I didn't return it right away, I would sit on it. What do y'all think? What would y'all do? Ain't nobody commenting. That must have happened to y'all too then. Nobody commenting. But you know sooner or later they gonna come back for it. You know that. So I wouldn't advise spending it no matter what you do. It'll come on the card twice.
People say that's a very distinct possibility. It's standard, and we're going to put out the fires. We're not going to close the country. We're going to put out the fires. There could be, whether it's an ember or a flame, we're going to put it out. But we're not closing our country.
Okay. More from President Trump. The old Trumpster. Did we see this already?
Big news tonight in the college admissions scandal, and this is one that has been brewing for a while, and it looked like we were getting ready for a trial involving Lori Loughlin, also known as Aunt Becky from Full House. And all along her and
Aunt Becky,
really
what you do, Aunt Becky?
Fighting these charges tooth and nail.
What you do?
Trying to get them dismissed. Well, today apparently they struck a deal. Ted Rollins has the details.
We're here today to announce charges in the largest college admissions scam ever prosecuted by the Department of Justice.
14 months after their arrest, actress Lori Loughlin and her husband, designer Massimo Giannulli, have agreed to plead guilty and go to prison for their role in the college bribery scandal. The plea agreement, which is expected to be approved by the judge, will send Loughlin to prison for 2 months with a fine of $150,000. Giannulli will spend 5 months in prison and be fined $250,000. Prosecutors allege that Loughlin and Giannulli paid $500,000 to get daughters Olivia Jade and Isabella into USC. The plan, orchestrated by mastermind turned FBI informant Rick Singer, was to pretend the girls were accomplished rowers. These photos of the girls on rowing machines were part of the government's case. In a statement released this morning by the Department of Justice, U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling said, under the plea agreements filed today, these defendants will serve prison terms reflecting their respective roles in a conspiracy to corrupt the college admission process and which are consistent with prior sentences in this case. We will continue to pursue accountability for undermining the integrity for college admissions. Loughlin and Giannulli were 2 of 50 people arrested last year in what was named Operation Varsity Blues. They are the 23rd and 24th parents to plead guilty, joining fellow actress Felicity Huffman, who served 11 days in a Northern California prison.
My advice is to recognize in the totality of her life, 2 months inside of a minimum security camp is a blip.
Author and prison coach Justin Paperny is a former stockbroker who spent 18 months in federal prison. He says both Loughlin and Giannulli need to keep their heads down and try to use their time behind bars to be productive.
So he has a wonderful opportunity in front of him to make this 5 months or 2 months for Lori a productive time, or it can be a miserable time where their sentence feels like, 10 or 15 years. And she could be a target, look to get exploited by some of these prisoners who may be jealous of her success, her fame, her wealth, the brevity of her federal prison sentence. So it's in her interest to understand how others will perceive her, to lay low, to understand her environment.
Paperny also discounts the notion that minimum security prisons are country clubs.
The reality is you're confined. You're told with whom you have to share space, what type of job, how many phone minutes a month. You can get sent to the whole or a higher security prison if you get into trouble or associate with the wrong people. So it makes for good headlines, a country club. Though having endured it, I can tell you there are very few similarities between life in federal prison and life in, or being a member of a country club.
Lachlan and Giannulli are scheduled to plead guilty tomorrow. A sentencing date is expected to be set during the couple's appearance.
All right, so it's official, it's over. I thought they were going to fight it to the end, but they did not. Let's bring in Ted Rollins. Ted, tomorrow they're supposed to plead guilty. How are they doing this? This is federal court in Massachusetts. They're in LA. What's going on?
Yeah, we believe it's going to be a Zoom scenario. Frankly, we're not positive on that. Work that out. I'm surprised that this. I know that Vinny, you believe that they never should have been charged in the first place. For many people, however, this is justice.
Yeah, well, you know what? The truth is, the government folded in this case, Ted. They absolutely folded. I mean, she's getting only 2 months. And there was an interesting little note in the plea agreement where they said this is the first plea offer. They made sure they put that in the plea agreement because there were reports that the initial plea offers were like 2.5 years. And some of the people that pleaded early on that initially had the same charges got 15 months. So now they've got additional charges piled on. It took the deal like a year later, and they're getting less time, which is interesting, which tells me that in this case, the government did not want to take this to trial.
They were getting nervous, and I think it was partly because of the thing that you pointed out, that Rick Singer is the guy that is behind this. He is the person that manipulated all of these people. And to your point, over the last, they were giving money. They were taking money from anybody. They put up $500,000. They didn't steal that money.
Right, and that money's piling up now with the fines and everything else. You know, interesting that you spoke with the prison coach. I want to hear some more from him. Let's take a listen.
A lot of similarities between a male and female prison. They'll both be in a minimum security camp with people who are deemed nonviolent. So I would argue that life in a minimum security camp is harder for a female in part because of the way they are treated by staff and also the stigma that accompanies it. Dare I say it's almost more accepted that a male go to prison perhaps than a female. Some staff or prisoners may want to challenge or call them out. It's part of the reason they have to fully understand and think through everything they do.
So, do we have any indication of when she's going to go in? Because now we're in the middle of the COVID lockdown. Are they trying to maybe be a little sneaky and say, hey, can we do some home confinement because of the coronavirus?
Oh, I guarantee you that's coming. You know, they'll get this, first of all, they'll plea out, and then it'll be, well, you know, he's got a business and he can be confined or be in a halfway house. But the reality is they could just delay the sentence, you know, push him back. The sentencing date, first of all, isn't going to be tomorrow, right? So there's some time there, and the world is changing on a daily basis. But I guarantee you they will be arguing down the line after this plea is accepted that they shouldn't do any time because of COVID-19.
Right. And at the end of the day, I just want everyone to know they were facing up to 50 years. It was money laundering. It was all these unbelievable charges. And now you're down to 2 months, which is less time than someone who was charged with the same exact crime got 15 months for a year ago. Speaks volumes to me.
Brainer.
Might be inside baseball, but anyhow.
Hey. Looks like Aunt Becky gotta go to jail. It's only for 2 months. Looks like she got to go to jail. Okay, let's see what this is.
Winning is my business. That is what this kid's shirt says. And now finding him is ours. Cape Coral police are trying to track down the boy in this surveillance photo. They say he stole a bike from an 88-year-old Cape Coral man. And that was their only mode of transportation to get food and medicine. NBC2's Alex Howard went to the victim's neighborhood to find out more about the bike that you can help track down.
And that red bike with a basket on it was the only mode of transportation for a senior citizen who lived on this street. Now Cape Police are hoping that the surveillance photo taken of the boy stealing it will help track him down.
For this victim, this bicycle was their independence.
Southeast 13th Place in Cape Coral is a street filled with bikes. But for some here, it's the only way of getting around.
Well, it's an 88-year-old person whose only transportation is the bicycle to go to the grocery store, pick up medication. So it's important that we get it back.
Last Sunday, a senior citizen here had theirs stolen by this boy, who was caught in the act on camera wearing a gold chain and a "Winning is my business" t-shirt.
I look like a young kid, probably preteen to teen.
And while generous offers to replace the bike have come flooding in via Facebook and to Cape Police, they still hope that the boy's parents recognize him.
They will definitely identify their own child in this photograph, either by the shirt, by the gold chain around his neck.
To learn that a life of crime is not a winning business.
It's just sad that people any age would steal from anybody, and when it's a child, they need to be taught to learn that it's not acceptable.
In Cape Coral, Alex Howard, NBC2.
That don't make no sense. That just don't make no sense. Let me check the chat. Hey, no night back here. We just got to your story about the 13-year-old. Y'all wonder why I don't like to let the bike or scooter out of my sight. How could you, a young spry preteen, how could you take away the transportation mode of somebody elderly or disabled? What kind of crudiness must you been raised around to make you want to steal from elderly or disabled people? Yeah, they should give him a mobility scooter because he could have took the key, or he wouldn't have had to get off it. But what kind of person, I mean, how could you steal an 88-year-old man? He walking around with a gold chain on. If you got a preteen wearing a gold chain, his parents got money. Why would you steal something from an old man? I just don't get it. You know, when I came home, the last time I went to the market, I carried the groceries upstairs. And I heard a sound. So I came back down the steps. And I saw a woman looking at the scooter. And she went and picked up a bassinet that was sitting outside. Why it was sitting out there, I don't know. And she carried it inside. Didn't shake it out because there's probably some bugs or something on it. And she acted like she was going to take it inside. I came down there, I was getting ready to front kick her. Because the phone and the camera was on the handlebars. And the camera was recording. The 360-degree camera was recording. But that shows you how sick people is. I went out the week before last, and I had already took out the seat. I took off the back wheels and the battery, and I was coming for the base. And there was a guy standing there, and I looked at him and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, I just wanted to see what this was, because I didn't know what it was. It had lights on it." I said, "Sir, it's a mobility scooter." And I said, "It's already broke down. Ain't nothing here but the beat." Oh, no, I wasn't gonna steal it. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. And then she says, "Aunt Becky lied, going to prison for 2 months," shaking my head. Well, she got lucky. She ain't had no money. She wasn't famous. She could have been looking at, they said 50 years. You said they paid $500,000 just to get their 2 daughters into the University of South Carolina. What the hell? You need to change that to what the F. Why they ain't do that to get them into Harvard? Why they ain't do that to get them into Yale? They ain't trying to get into daggone University of California. California. Not even UCLA. Yeah, I was just saying. And then he said, "Oh, that kid's that dumb." Sorry for truth. Why couldn't they hire them tutors? They got all that money. Why they couldn't hire those girls tutors? So they must not be able to act. How come the mother ain't trying to get them an acting job? So them kids must be sick in the head. Find examples to set for the children. Well, even though we got a bike lock, NNC wanted to know how come I won't lock the bike up. Well, that's why. A person, they got a pair of those wire cutters, can cut that lock in seconds. And they're not going to draw no attention because they can sit there and act like they making an adjustment to the bike and actually cut it, take it out, hop on it, and ride off. Then you come out minutes later. "Hey, where my bike at?" And they gone. You come out minutes later and they gone. And it took them 30 seconds to cut that bike lock and they gone. The same way. All they gotta do is yank the alarm off and throw it. The same way somebody, if you don't have a club, and they say you supposed to have the kind that go from the steering wheel to the brake. Somebody can get in your car and be gone in 20 seconds or less. If you have a club on the steering wheel, it would take them about 40 seconds to saw it off, then slide it out. So how do you prevent somebody from taking your stuff? Don't let it leave your sight. That's how you prevent it. That's why I was so worried last time I went to the market, because the milk was all leaking. The milk was way at the far corner. I mean, that was the wall. The milk was right there at the wall at the far end of the store. And I had to leave everything. The phone, the camera, the groceries that I just bought, and run through the store and hope. And I watched the video, and one person did take a long look. Oops, wrong side. Oh crap. What are you doing? Crane Highway. How am I gonna get out there? See how that's out there in the boonies. $500 off June. It's a $255 one bedroom, one bath, May rent free. $500 off of June. $500 off of June. The rent only $255. How is it $500 off of June? That doesn't make any sense. The rent would make no sense either. That's too cheap. This looks like a daggone hotel. I don't see no rent. Where's the rent? You ain't got no rent. Where's the rent? You don't say what the rent is. Let's say $1 ain't gonna food that. Weekly rental $385. Includes utilities. Oh, it's a weekly rental for $385. Oh hell no. $385 a week, not a month. What's that, a hotel? John Harrison Highway, I don't know what the hell that is. Oh, that's a pretty house right there. Oh. That's a pretty house right there. First floor apartment with rent. Where is it? Oh, it's Annapolis. How am I get out there? This is a room. Hey. All right, I don't know what these places is. Student houses. Oh hell no. $900 a month for a dorm room. God darn. You sure know how to make somebody feel broke. Woo. She said move to Detroit. Shay'll hook you up. He trying to get me killed. Out there with that snow. I see the link. You sure know how to pick the best links, don't you? How do you move it? Oops. How do you move it? Studio's fine. Okay, no studios. One bedroom. Bolton, 189. Currently unavailable. So you just can't get rid of it, right? I sent it and you couldn't just let it go. Why the information still sitting there? Why the information still sitting there? And you still gonna have it sit there. Get it out of here, man. God darn. How come I can't move it? How come I can't move it? How do you scroll? I don't know what it's doing. I don't know what it is. Did that help any? I don't know how to move it. It won't move. That was a waste of time. They're like the same place.